Hi, I'm Ryan from Amber Elm. I'm starting to get new gear fatigue in a way.
This is Spectravox, and it's the latest semi-modular synth from Moog.
It's the Behringer MS5, model 15.
The Voltage Lab 2.
It seems like every month a company is coming out with, announcing the production of, or just teasing a new synthesizer or Eurorack module. And with Superbooth 24 just around the corner, my YouTube page is just flooded with new and exciting synthesizers and modules, and yeah, I think I've had enough. And it's not even only music gear for that matter. Companies are coming out with new phones and tablets, chipsets, wearables. It's all just getting to be a bit much. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I don't still want after a lot of this gear. There are a handful of these synthesizers that I would die to get my hands on. But as I watched more videos introducing new synths or demoing things for Superbooth, I realized it wasn't just the synths that I was wanting after, it was more what they represented. Something new and something creative. I don't know if you feel the same way I do, but when I'm watching these videos of like the new Polybrute or the Solar 42, it makes me feel like that is the answer to make something that's more unique and more creative. How many times can I say new and creative? I think one of the answers to new gear fatigue is digging deeper into the things that you already have. If you're like me, there's probably at least one thing in your setup that you've only sort of scratched the surface of. I think it's a really good idea to pick one of those things, pick one synthesizer or one module, and only write on that for like a week or a month. Treat it like you're on a desert island and this is the only thing that you have to make music. And do it. Make music for a week with this one thing. And I guarantee as you explore that one instrument, you'll be surprised at the depth that you can get out of it. Originally, I wanted this video to be about granular synthesis. It's something that I've been getting way into recently, and I thought I would share that even though I'm probably, 3 years past the granular synthesis trend. So I opened up Pigments to make some sound examples, and I started to realize that every sound I made ended up kind of sounding the same. Kind of like this. Or like this. And they're different, and I'm sure you could use these for different tracks and no one would bat an eye, but to me they all sort of sounded the same, just sort of ambient washes of mush and reverb, and they sounded awesome, but the same. And it's not Pigment's fault. This plugin is super powerful and I'm sure you could use it in 1,000 ways, and I'm using it for just one of those ways, and if that was my desert island synth, I'm sure I'd be just fine. Because I was using it one way and sort of getting the same result, that's what led me to go to YouTube and sort of fall down that rabbit hole of new gear. But what brought me out of that rabbit hole was an app that I had downloaded about a year ago on my 10-year-old iPad Air 2. iPad 2 Air, whatever. As I realized that I didn't really want something new, I just wanted what it represented, I opened up Fluss. I'm gonna say Fluss because I'm here in America. I'm sure my German viewers may have a very pointed opinion about how I'm pronouncing that word. Maybe I'll just call it Flow because that's what it means in English. Fluss is a granular synthesizer and effects processor with a touch control interface. It was designed by Brambos and Heinbach. You've got touch control over most things that you'd see in a granular synthesizer. Number of grains, the grain density, the window. What makes this kind of unique is the fact that you can sort of automate these things by turning down the friction. So if I want my grain size to move, it'll go up and down. It's sort of like having an LFO. Over here in this quadrant, you can mess with the pitch, you can mess with the octave, pitch on the x-axis and octave on the y-axis. You can create custom scales, and you have another pad for the filter. The more I used Fluss, the more I realized that iPads are sort of awesome, and they offered me a new way to interact with my software. So I downloaded some other apps and made some more music, and it just got me thinking, these new synthesizers are truly a luxury item. And it is really nice to have physical control over the knobs and the faders. But we live in a time where MIDI control is getting so much better. A lot of these plugins are getting closer and closer to the real thing. If you combine those new plugins with the MIDI control that you have over them, you're getting a pretty similar experience to that, X $1,000 Mini Moog or Polybrute that's coming out. And while I still will at some point want to get my hands on a Solar 42 or this new Polybrute or the GR1, it's not going to stop me from being creative, and it's not going to stop me from trying to explore new sounds and make new music. And I don't think it should stop you either. I find that I lust over gear the least when I'm being creative, when I'm happy with the music that I'm writing, and when I'm trying to push the envelope of what my setup can yield. So always be creative, and it will tamp down that desire to go buy any of this shit. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.